To get started on this exercise, you should have downloaded the Lesson 11 exercise file. To get started, you can double-click on the 11 Start InDesign file. And this time, when it gives you the Issues with Links warning, click on the Don't Update Links. One of the things that we're going to be covering for this particular exercise is how to update and modify any of the missing or modified links. One of the first things we can do now is to go up to File, and let's do a Save As. And let's rename this from Start to CD Insert. Now, one of the first things to notice is the Links panel. If you don't have it already open, here we have it here. This will show you all of the images that this InDesign file is linking to somewhere on your computer. In our case, let's go over to page 1. Remember, you can go down to the very bottom of the document and click on page 1 here, and you can see it's going to be this particular graphic. If you use your selection tool, you can click on any graphic such as Songs of the Garden, and you can see that once it's selected, it will highlight it in your links panel. Additionally, if you want to know where a linked file is being used, you can select the file, such as RR logo, and then you can click on the Go to Link button, and it will automatically jump to it and show you where it's being used on that particular part of your document. Now, in addition to showing you all the different linked files that are in this document, you can select any of these and see more information about that document. You may not be able to see it easily, so if you can't see this, you can drag down and scroll through all the different parts of the document's metadata. Another thing you should be able to do is click to the side and drag it outward if you need to see even more information. At any time, you can click the left or right arrows to cycle through and see all the information about each part, or you can click on the little arrow and collapse it up or down. The final most helpful thing to know about the Links panel is instead of finding something on your document, if you ever need to find an actual file that's saved on your computer, you can select the file, go up to the Options, and then choose Open in Finder. This will open up the individual file folder on your computer so that you know exactly where it's saved to. If you've done this, we can close it out, and let's go back to our InDesign file. The other primary purpose of showing you where your linked files are is to also indicate if there's any missing or modified links. If you ever see the yellow triangle, this simply means that this file has been changed after this document has been saved. In other words, it's been modified outside of the original document. In our case, let's select this first tile AI file that's found on page 1, and if necessary, you can click on Go to Link, and it will show you where this is being used at. To update the modified link, you can click on the little circular icon, and this will update that particular instance, and you can see a better version of it. Notice that when it's updated, the little triangular icon at the top has been changed to a link, meaning that it's been relinked and updated from its original. You can see that the cover butterfly Photoshop document that we have here also has this link up at the top. At any time, you can also click on that link and it'll automatically update it from there as well. Finally, the fastest way to update all of your links is to go to the Link Options and then choose Update All Links, and that will update all the ones that have any necessary updates. Now, if you want to change out any of the artwork that's already been linked on here, for instance, we have a new version of the cover, you can select the linked file from here, click on the little link icon to relink it, and this will ask you to find the file that you want to relink to. In our case, we want to change this to the new cover with the red flower. When we say Open, this will change it out and relink it to the new file now. Now, when displaying all of these different graphics, depending on how your computer is set up, you may want to be able to view these in a high or a lower quality. If you're working on a computer that's either like a laptop or an older computer that doesn't have a good graphics processor, it's faster to view these in a lower quality. You can do this two different ways. First, you can go up to View and down to your display performance and select typical quality if it's not already selected. Notice that this displays everything in a very low quality pixelated image. It'll still print correct, but everything that you see is going to be slightly lower in quality. If you select an image and want to see what this would look like high quality, for instance, I've selected the tile AI, you can then right-click or control-click on it, and you can change the display performance for just this graphic. In this case, I'm going to set it to be high quality. Notice now that this image is high quality while the pixelated image behind it is being displayed in low quality. Finally, you can always go to View and choose your display performance to high quality, and this will choose everything to be in high quality. Again, if your computer starts to run slow or becomes very glitchy, sometimes it's best to swap over to a different quality of image just so that you get an idea of how things can run and view as you're working on your document. I'm going to zoom out and click and deselect everything. Let's go over here to this far left-hand side, which is actually page 5. I'm going to open up my Layers panel. I'm going to pull it to the side so I can see a little bit more of my graphics. Let's choose the Photos layer. Now with nothing selected, if we go to File and Place, let's find the blue hydrangea Photoshop file and say Open. If we were to click off of the pasteboard onto here, you can see it makes its own individual frame and places the picture inside of it at full scale. Now this is way too big for what we need, so we need to scale this down. Of course, there's two different ways you can scale it. You could type in the exact height and width up here, or if you hold down the Shift and Command key, you can click on the bottom left edge and drag. And let's do it till it's about 2 inches. If yours is off by a little bit, that's okay. Right about there looks good. Let's place this image now over on the right-hand side of this graphic right here. And let's crop it so that just the hydrangea is being shown. We'll bring it in and place it here. If necessary, we can drag it over just a bit more, and you can click on the inside of it with the content grabber and use your arrow keys to nudge it up so that it's nice and centered inside of the frame. Something like that looks pretty good. Let's select the frame to the left of it, and we'll go to File and Place. And in this case, let's choose the butterfly on the flower and say Open. Once again, you can see that it's way too big, so let's fit it to the frame. Right-click or control-click on it, choose Fitting. In our case, we want to choose to fit the content to the frame. But when we do this, it's going to squash it in, and you can see that the butterfly is now distorted. You can see what it's doing is that it's squashing the image until it fills out the entire area of the frame, which of course distorts it. Another option we could choose under Fitting is to fit the content proportionally. Now in this case, it does resize it and it keeps it proportional, but it doesn't fill out the entire frame. And the final option under Fitting is to fill the frame proportionally. In this case, it does scale it up and keeps everything proportional, but it does kind of an awkward cropping to it. A final new option to InDesign is to right-click on it and choose Fitting, and we're going to choose Content Aware Fit. Doing this will look at the contents of your image and will try to scale it proportionally till it fills out just what it thinks is perfect. In this case, it gives us a really good result. Let's do the same thing with the circular frame. With that frame selected, we'll go to File and Place. Let's choose the Calla Lily Photoshop file. And as you see, it's not fitting perfectly, so we're going to right-click on it, choose Fitting, and then Content Aware Fit to automatically place it in the center for us. Another seemingly faster way that you can place images is to drag them directly from your computer's desktop into the file itself. To do this, you'll need to be able to see both where the file is located and the InDesign file together at the same time. In our case, we want to locate where the Starflower JPEG is, and then I can drag it from this folder and drop it into InDesign right where this frame is. it'll automatically place it inside of this design. Finally, we can right-click on it. Make sure it's selected first. Then we can right-click on it. Let's do fitting. And this time, we're going to tell it to fit the frame to the content. This will resize the frame so that it fits the content that's inside of it. Now, there is another way that you can import different graphics using the other Adobe software. I'm going to zoom out. Let's go over back to page 1. The application Adobe Bridge allows you to quickly find any images that is stored on your computer and be able to import them into other Adobe software. Bridge is a great, powerful way to organize these files. If you don't have it installed already on your computer, feel free to skip over this step, but watch me demo so that you can get an understanding of what it can do. To import files from Adobe Bridge, you can go to File and down to Browse in Bridge. This will open up and launch the Adobe Bridge app. And then from here, you can find where the file is located, where you're trying to find it. In my case, I've got the Lesson 11 folder already open. From here, I can see all the different files that are inside this folder, including the maple leaf that we're looking for. Now, in order to bring it in, I can simply select it and drag it into this document. And now you can see how it can be placed inside of my design. I'm going to zoom in and bring this down and scale this down till it's just inside this little blue area up here at the very top. Now, just like with any of the other graphics, I can always open up Bridge and select any other file, for instance, these other maple leaves, and drag them and drop them inside of here, and it will automatically replace it. Now, in addition to working with Adobe Bridge, InDesign also lets you open all the different files in their native format. For instance, if we go to our Links panel, we can see this blue hydrangea image is a Photoshop document. So with the blue hydrangea selected, you can click on the little pencil icon and tell it to edit the original. This is going to launch Adobe Photoshop, and wherever you make a change in Photoshop, it'll automatically be reflected in the InDesign file. In this case, let's do a simple little filter. I'm going to go up to Filter, and we'll go down to our Blur, and let's do a simple little Gaussian blur. To be honest, you can do whatever change you want, but I'm just going to make this simple and blur it up so that you can see how it's changed up here. Now what this is done, we can go up to File, and let's do a Save. This will save our document, and we can close it out. And when we jump back into here, we can go to our blue hydrangea and go to where it is on the link. And now you can see how it's been updated to the blurry image here.